Hello everyone, welcome back to another Baldur's Gate 3 build guide. And today we're going to be doing a build guide on Emma Frost. I figured, hey, she's coming to Marvel Rivals, now would be a better time than any. And I had a really fun idea for this one, so if you like the build in the end, don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll just get into it. So, as you can see here, we have a lot of stuff going on. This is a pretty weird build, I will admit. And I will warn beforehand, probably not the most optimal. It is for fun, so bear with me here. I might be cooking a bit. So, let's go over what's going on. I actually have notes this time for how I want to do this, because I felt like last time I was very disorganized, and I tried to record this before, and it was even more disorganized. So, we're going to go over the leveling first. As you can see here, I have 6 Monk, 2 Wizard, and 4 Sorcerer. The subclasses are Open Hand Monk, Enchantment Wizard, and Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer. Now, this might seem weird, because it is. The main reason is I picked Open Hand Monk because I just figured it's like the best one for, you know, just the hands-on combat, and you get the Manifestation of Mind. She's like telepathic, vague psychic abilities, so I figured this would be pretty worth doing. And the other 2 monk subclasses didn't really fit. I was thinking about 4 elements because of the hold person, but we can get that from other ways, such as the enchantment wizard. Intelligence is actually going to be our main casting stat. As you can see, we have 17 here. Now this does mean our spell save DC is a little low. Pretty low actually. It's only 16, but that is why we have the 4 levels in Sorcerer. Charisma is at 8, so as for our Sorcerer spells, I just took a bunch of utility. These are the ones I went with if you wanted to copy these. But the main reason I wanted to Sorcerer is for Heightened Spell. This would make our chances to hit go from like very icky percentages to slightly less icky percentages. But I mainly did it just for, like, you know, the roleplay and the theming of it all. You get Hypnotic Gaze, which is a charm ability that incapacitates them for 2 turns. It's a wisdom save too, and difficulty class is 18. I think it's mostly used for conversation, but it does work in combat, and I'll show that later. But yeah, it's, you know, pretty fun little thing. I don't see Enchantment Wizard used very often, so I had to look up what this did. So yeah, it's also once per long rest, which is kind of sucky, but hey, you know, we'll deal with it. As you can see here, we also have a bunch of mainly enchantment spells and conjuration. These I felt like were the most thematic for Emma, but you could probably go with better spells if you want to just play optimally, like Counterspell, you know, Long Strider, Magic Missile, stuff like that. But I just kind of went with what would be the most thematic. So we have Charm Person, Detect Thoughts, Hold Person, Sleet Storm, and Hypnotic Pattern. And, you know, I already went over kind of the Sorcerer ones. These are only for utility. I wouldn't take anything you need to cast with. I think the most important ones here are Shield, Mirror Image, Misty Step, and Armor of Agathis, which you get from the Draconic Ancestry White subclass. That's why I went with the Draconic Sorcery, because Armor of Agathis will give you temp HP, and it's also, you know, it does cold damage if they hit you with a melee attack. I think that's pretty fitting, because, you know, Emma Frost, you know, kind of made of, like, diamond, cold. I think it works pretty well. So, yeah, that's what the leveling sort of is like. You could take it in any order you see fit. I probably wouldn't try to go in a semi-normal-ish order. And by normal, I mean just like I wouldn't hop between classes. Like I wouldn't take 2 levels in Monk and then 2 levels in Wizard and then a level in Sorcerer and another level in Monk. I would just do it like either just like 6 Monk, 2 Wizard, 4 Sorcerer, or like 2 Wizard, 4 Sorcerer, 6 Monk. Whenever you want each part of the build to be online, that's what I would prioritize. And even though I say like, oh, you know, don't do it abnormally. If you want to do it abnormally, it doesn't really matter. You should play the game however you like. I only say that because I think I would drive myself insane playing like that. You can just play however you want. I'm not telling you what to do, and it's probably not even bad. Like, you can beat this game with anything. Like, there are videos out there of people beating this game by only throwing underwear. Like, if you really want to, you can do anything. Now that tangent is over, we can get into, let's just say, the stat spread. You might see we do have 27 strength. This is a version with Tavern Brawler. If you don't want to run Tavern Brawler, I would start with 16 con instead of 15. Just because you probably wouldn't need to take a half feat if that's the case. I'm sorry, not 16. You would start with 14 con. Because you wouldn't have enough points. You'd probably do 14 con and then 10 intelligence, just so stuff like Mind Blast, as you can see here, it does have -1 because this is an intelligence save. It's not using for the because of the way the headband works, it has like that -1. But like, if you didn't want to use Tavern Brawler, completely understand that. So I would tweak it a little bit. But this build here is for Tavern Brawler. Just one, because, I like my consistency Tavern Brawler monks. I love Tavern Brawler monks. They're very fun to play for me. And also, two, I think it would be a travesty to not have Emma Frost have a strength stat. I feel like, she is strong, and I want to replicate that a bit. So, and I also didn't want to use weapons. You could also use the Club of Hill Giant Strength, but I really couldn't. I've tried, as you can see, I have like a weapon here. I have I tried to put weapons on it, but I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I don't like this. At least melee weapons in particular. I just have this bow for the stat stick, but if you want to, you can. I just, I think it's more thematic to be punching people in the face. But I am also biased because I love punching people in the face. Okay, so now with that being said, we also have 17 wisdom. Now, as you can see, we have 20 wisdom here. I want our stunning strikes to stun. I want this to be more of like a controller, not just like a pure damage monk. We could do stunning strike, hypnotic gaze, all of these spell effects to just make the enemy's life hell. And you also, because you have 20 wisdom, you got 21 AC as a character not wearing armor, which I think is pretty good, especially if you can get someone to cast like stone skin on you. Oh, I have an exclamation point. Let's hopefully this works, because another try of this, I tried to cast stone skin on myself, and it was saying I wasn't an ally, which is hilarious. Take this. And yeah, so if you have a character in your party, I'll just say like a Battlemaster fighter, it's not really going to be concentrating on anything. This is until long rest, so as long as your fighter or whoever's casting it doesn't break concentration, you can just have resistances to slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning. And you also get these two from the Darkfire Shortbow, which is pretty good. And also, this is just the Resonance Stone. If you, just put it, get away from me. You normally, if that's not around, you don't have the Psychic vulnerability. But yeah, this character ends up being extremely tanky and evasive. So I think that's pretty good. You could also, if you wanted to do more, let's just say you didn't want this, you could also put on the Ring of Protection. That's 22. And if you really, really wanted to, there are boots that give +1 AC. I don't remember what they're called. It's the ones that you get from Last Light Inn, from the little kid. I think it's Mattis. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But those would give you +1 AC. I just didn't go with them because, this is just what I had in mind for this sort of build. But if you wanted to boost your AC more, you definitely could. It's a very good character in that aspect. Also, this does not look as diamondy as I wish it did. But to be fair, it is stone skin and not diamond skin. Real. I'm trying to get like the goofy forehead shot. Oh no. Oh no. Is that her Okay, yeah, let's get out of there. Anyway. um, also, I figured I'd mention just some consumables you might want to have on you. If you're going to be Tavern Brawler Monk, strength potions to elixir of Hill Giant Strength in the early game, Cloud Giant Strength by the end of Act 2, beginning of Act 3-ish, somewhere around there. And then Angelic Reprieve when you get the Sorcerer, just for sorcery points, because there's this neat trick you can do. I will show it in case you guys have not seen it before. We're going to turn all of our spell slots of level 1 and 2 into sorcery points. Just one more. And then we're going to take an Angelic Reprieve. We're going to be EP Emma for 2 turns. And we'll have all of our spell slots back, but we keep the sorcery points. So I see this as more of a quality of life thing, so you don't have to long rest as much. But because you're only really using it for heightened spell, and I just think, if you have the potions, you can just do that. It's also helpful because your key points are also in short rest resources. So if I spent any of these would also get refreshed by the Angelic Reprieve potion. So yeah, I'd say those are handy to have, and also not a consumable, but the Resonance Stone, you do deal some psychic damage with the Manifestation of Mind. That would give you psychic damage, and also you have psionic abilities from Illithid powers, which I haven't went over yet, but I do have some in mind. Like particularly Mind Blast would get doubled by Resonance Stone, and if you psionic overload yourself, you would deal more psychic damage. So this would be 1d4 psychic damage plus this 6 to 9 doubled for every hit of Flurry of Blows. It gets pretty strong. So if you want to carry the Resonance Stone with you, you definitely could. Or you could just, if you want to metagame it, you drop it on the ground. You can hit someone, pick it up, like send it to camp. Make sure you're not vulnerable to it, because you do have disadvantage on mental saving throws with it. And, of course, being weak to psychic, which is not ideal sometimes. Especially if you're fighting like Mind Flayers. Not very great. Yeah, so I think that's all I need to say about that. I think I should probably go over the equipment, because I feel like the equipment definitely makes this build to a lot of the extent. So you might know this. I said to take 8 intelligence, but we have 17 here. Why is that? It's because we have the warped headband of intellect. I hate this item. I hate this headgear, because I think it sucks. I think effectively 16 intelligence, especially throughout the entire game, is fucking horrible. However, that's why we have heightened spell, which sort of fixes it a little bit. I understand if you don't want to do this because it's not great. If you want to make like this build without it, you will have not as many spellcasting capabilities, like no spell save DC. That's why I have some other gear we have on too. But I want to make it very clear. I understand that this isn't great. However, I don't think it's awful either, because of heightened spell and because of what you want to be doing. Especially if you are carrying the Resonance Stone around too. Because if you're in range, if the enemies are in range of the Resonance Stone, they also have disadvantage on mental saving throws. So, depending on what spell you're trying to cast, you might be giving them disadvantage anyway. And if you're not, you can just heighten spell, and they'll have disadvantage on it. And I think that's pretty good. But if you wanted to, you can boost the spell save DC with gear. I didn't really have room for it. I have the Robe of the Weave, which gives you +1. But there are other gear out there. If you don't want the AC from the Cloak of Protection, there is the Cloak of the Weave, which gives you another plus to spell save DC, which would make this 17. Like I said, it's not great, but you're a half-caster type character. If you wanted to go heavy into spell save DC, you'd want to be playing a different character. But this is just kind of what I came up with. Wow, I did not expect to rant that much about the intellect band, not gonna lie. It is Not even, I don't know, I said I fucking hate it, it's horrible, but it's really not. It's just an early game item. It's an Act 1 item. You get it from the ogres. So 16 intelligence is fine for that stage of the game if you're level 3. I don't know. But yeah, you get this from the ogres. You would either kill Lump the Enlightened. Actually, no, he doesn't. You can't pickpocket him. I lied. You would have to kill Lump the Enlightened. That, mostly in my runs, I'd rather keep him alive. I think keeping him alive does more for my happiness than the intellect band does for me in gameplay. But that's just me. The Cloak of Protection you get from Quartermaster Tali. This is like probably top 2 cloak in the game. There's also not really a lot of good ones, but hey. +1 AC and +1 saving throws. Robe of the Weave we have for the spell save DC and attack rolls, and then this is also pretty useful. You just get the HP, and it gives you +2 AC, which is good. If you don't want to use this, if you don't really care about the spell casting benefits, you could use Vest of Soul Rejuvenation, which you get at the Ramazith Tower shop from the Leroican Protection, projection. And then these two are just Act 1 to / Act 2 cloths you could go with. Any real cloth works. It's not really the biggest deal. Onto the gloves, which is an interesting pick. I think I've never seen this in a build guide. It's the Snow-Dusted Monastery Gloves. Now, if you're like me, you've probably only ever seen this like 4 times in all of my almost 1,000 hours in this game. Because it's very outclassed by these you get in the same act. However, we do have the Snowburst ring on. So, because we're Emma Frost, we are going to do cold damage with every punch, which activates our Snowburst ring, so you can go up to someone. I'm not going to punch Yenna in the face. If you go up to someone and punch them, it will create an icy surface that people can slip on. And since you have the Ring of Free Action, you are immune to difficult terrain. You will always save on this ice. Just kidding, apparently. That's extremely funny. DC 12. I thought... Does the Ring of Free Action not make you immune to ice? Wait, I'm a fraud. Guys, wait, no, don't go. That's hilarious. Anyway, we're just gonna do that real quick and have 22 AC. It doesn't matter. Hey, you know, Emma Frost slipping on her own ice, hilarious actually. However, I will say, you're not really gonna want to be moving anyway. You have Misty Step, and 2, if you make the ice, you can kind of just sit here.
I need to hold on.
That's really funny. We also have really good saving throws, but like, I just think it's really funny. There's also the, what is it, the Nightwalkers? Nightwalker. It's these that make you immune to ice, right? Like, specifically. Can't be enwebbed, entangled, ensnared, and can't slip on ice. So if you want to use these, Disintegrating Nightwalkers, you get these from Nier in Act 1. And if you don't want to slip on your ice, you can do that. And you also get a free cast of Misty Step, which is cool. I had on the Boots of Uninhibited Kashigo for more damage, because we do have a high Wisdom modifier. It's, because we have 20 Wisdom, it's very high. So I figured these would work, but, you know, now that I found out that being immune to difficult terrain does not mean ice, maybe these would be better. It's really your pick. I think I'm going to keep on the Boots of Kashigo, because I think it's actually quite hilarious to be able to slip on your own ice. Is it worse? Allegedly, maybe, probably, but it's really funny. That being said, you might be wondering how we have 20 Wisdom. Is because of our necklace. We have 19 in the character creator, but with the necklace, we have 20. Khalid's Gift, you get this in Jahira's house. I believe it's like in the under cellar. I don't think you need her to get it, but if you have her recruited, she just kind of does all the puzzles for you. It just gives you +1 wisdom, and it gives you this aid, this level 3 free cast of aid. You know, you have better, if you have other sources of aid, they're better. But, you know, if you don't, it's pretty good. And yeah, it just rounds our wisdom up to 20. I already kind of went over the snowburst ring, and hey, ring of protection. You could also use this if you don't want to ignore the effects of difficult terrain, paralyze or restrain. I think that this is still good and also very thematic for the character. I might actually see the ring of protection is probably better and more consistent overall, but I do still think this is more thematic because in like the icy form, I know specifically in like rivals she can't be like affected by status or like CC'd or anything. So like I feel like not being able to get paralyzed and restrained makes sense. So I'm actually gonna keep it on. But just be aware, now you know you could slip on your own ice even if you're immune to difficult terrain. I just kind of assumed that ice was difficult terrain. Apparently it's not. That's my bad. And yeah, that's pretty much all the gear. I do have the Darkfire Shortbow, which is a stat stick. This could be anything if you really want to. I mainly did it for cold resistance. Because we are not high enough in Sorcerer to get that yet, I don't think. Yeah, no, we're only level 4. So, yeah, that's basically everything with the build. These are also... I'm going to put these down here now. These are some alternative items if you want. If you're using a weapon, the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel could be nice. And the weapon I would recommend if you do want to use it is the Duelist Prerogative. Even though you're not proficient in it, I just feel like it's more of a stat stick than anything. And like you have a decently high hit chance anyway. Where even is it? Oh my god. 70% on a monk is crazy. What's the AC on this character? That is not... Okay. It's only 18, never mind. I wouldn't use the weapon anyway. I'm just kind of curious what the hit chance would be. We also have 27 strength. But the reason I picked this out, you wouldn't necessarily be attacking with it all the time, is that it gives you 1 less static crit, and you gain an additional reaction per turn. And this character has a lot of reactions that you could be making. You have Shield, Psionic Dominance, Deflect Missiles, Charm, and Psionic Backlash. So having an extra reaction could be useful if you wanted to use this. And the Gloves of Soul Catching is just the default monk gear at the end game. These are the legendary gloves. If you wanted to use these instead of the cold style build, I would just do this and then replace the Snowburst ring with the Ring of Protection. That would also be viable. However, I am going to go with the snow stuff because it's Emma Frost and I think it's thematic. And yeah, did I talk about the Illithid powers? I don't think I did. The specific Illithid powers I have picked out are kind of interesting. Oh, I can actually... What? This got moved. Interesting. Anyway, the specific Illithid powers I have picked out are the Mind Blast I would prioritize. I think Mind Blast is very thematic. Psychic. I'm mainly going with all the psychic ones. So we have Mind Blast, Psionic Dominance, Psionic Overload, Concentrated Blast, Transfused Health because you need it to get to Shield of Thralls, Stage Fright, Force Tunnel, and I believe we have Illithid Expertise as well. Yes, we do. We do have Illithid Expertise. And Psionic Dominance. I don't know if I mentioned that. So yeah, those are the ones I would prioritize. Oh, we also have Favorable Beginnings, Charm, and Displace. My bad. So those are the ones I would prioritize. This does mean you're a half Illithid. There are plenty of mods to remove the look of half Illithid. I don't even think this file has half Illithid because of the way I set it up. So I had to go about it in other means. So I don't actually have that toggle. But if you don't like the look of half Illithid, there's ways around it. That being said, one other thing I do have here as an option, if you want, is the Awakened passive feature. Since we do have Illithid powers, I feel like I should mention this. You can use all your Illithid powers as a bonus action with the Awakened buff. This is what you get by going to the Githyanki Crush, getting your brain blasted by the Zathix, and passing all of those checks. And honestly, on this character, I kind of thought it would be nice, but now that, like, I'm kind of thinking about it, you probably don't need it as much as, like, other characters like to have it, because your bonus action could be spent on Flurry of Blows. So if, let's just say this was an action, you could Mind Blast a whole group of people, and then go Flurry of Blows. But since they're bonus actions, it does make that a little weird. Although it's really up to personal preference. It just depends on how you'd rather play the game. I just kind of have it here for the sake of mentioning it, like that is in the game. So yeah, that's kind of everything with the build. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Oh, I didn't go over these scrolls. These are some spells that didn't fit on this build that I think she would definitely use. Scroll of Dominate Person, Hold Monster, Telekinesis, Planar Binding, Stone Skin, Otto's Irresistible Dance, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. I will say with Tasha's, you do have it. I just don't have it in my spell list because I couldn't fit it. You could remove one of these spells for Tasha's. The other spells are too high level, so I just have scrolls for them. If you want to just like keep those around, I think this character would do these kind of things. So yeah, that's basically it with the build. And now I will get onto the gameplay section demonstrating how to kind of operate the build, or how I envision the build being operated. So yeah, I'll see you in that section. Alright, so here is sort of the gameplay implementation of this build. I was gonna go bully these people, but I realized that we have Psionic Dominance. So we can actually go bully these people without worrying about fucking counterspell. I feel like I tend to avoid this area for my testing now, because every time I go here, I feel like I'm showing off a spellcaster and then they get counterspelled. Anyway, let's put on our Heighten spell, and if we cast level 3, we can do 2 people. That's 91, by the way. That's not bad. That's actually not that bad at all. One of them saved anyway. We are gonna dodge that. I don't actually have mirror image up. Do we want to take this reaction? Are we gonna be casting any more spells? I don't think so, because we need to hold. No, I'm gonna save it. I'll save the reaction. Do we want him to charm now? Did he break my concentration with one arrow? That is so tough. Alright, you know what? Fuck you. Ah, damn it, they saved. Anyway. Hilarious. Alright, now we only have a bonus action left. Wouldn't it be funny if they all got stunned? Hilarious. Actually hilarious. So, that's with the bonus action version, because we only had a bonus action left. We're just gonna go run over here. Because why not? Even if they do hit us, we have Stone Skin, so we are resisted. We don't care about Charm, I don't think. I'm gonna save it for maybe Psionic Dominance. We can backlash. Is my Psionic Dominance on? Did she die? What? She got one shot by a psionic backlash. Wait, that's so funny. I did not expect that to happen at all. I'm gonna be so real. Yeah, no, because Cole the Weak finished her. And she was vulnerable. Because Sonic Backlash, it upscales, right? Can I not see? Damn it. Sonic Backlash upscales. 1d4 psychic damage to the caster per the spell's level. I did not expect that to be so lethal. I'm gonna be real. I guess now I can check. Sonic Backlash is on too. I did not expect that to be so lethal. I'm gonna be so real. So what we can do here now is we have a lot of options. We could get all of our health back with the fullness of body. As a monk, we have that. And now we have 2 bonus actions. I feel like we could do stage fright. Stage fright everyone. Big stage fright. This will... Yeah. I could also just sit here. But I think I'm going to use my Misty Step to get out. Over here. Curb attack. Ow. 8. Now he can't hit me anymore. I'm the only one in combat, so he's basically... I'm immune to his damage, but if we had our entire party, Charm would just make it so he can't hit me specifically. Ow. Damn. They want me so bad. Oh. Oh. He did more damage to himself than he did to me. They are all missing because they all have stage fright. This is fucking hilarious. No! That's another reason why I usually don't do this fight. That's why I usually don't test on this. Holy shit. Steel watch him jump. Ah, he's gonna do psychic damage. Lame. Oh, got stage fright. And they still got more stage fright. How does this work exactly? Let me just... It's 3 turns. And they take damage... Okay. Let me just make sure. I'm just making sure. After the ice incident of 2025, I feel like I should be careful with what I think I know. So when it comes to this game, maybe you don't know everything. Ooh, can I? Holy shit, that's everyone. I really want this big hypnotic pattern. I want this big hypnotic pattern, but what are the odds this gets counterspelled? I'm doing it. I'm doing it because look at that. I can't not do that. Holy shit, it's gigantic. It's actually gigantic. And then now we can Misty Step to the other side. And then we can, let's just say, topple. This guy's immune to psychic, so we're gonna do the radiant version. That might be the funniest shit ever, actually.